Let us begin. I call upon Inanna, Lilith, and Kali. Ladies, I have a pre-share. Then I'll pull some cards for proceeding. No tricks up my sleeves. Nothing switched from how it came. Let's put it in the correct order, shall we? We begin with, we had this last time, whimsy. A heart that loves is always young, playful or fanciful, dreamlike, lighthearted, innocent, and capricious. It's Aquarius and Capricorn. Then when we have totality, next time I'll fix the mirroring. Sorry about that. The whole is greater than the sum of the parts. An aggregate amount accumulated, an accumulation of components, quality of wholeness. We have Taurus and Libra. Control. Great captains are made in rough waters. Ability to regulate. Reduction of severity. Restraining influence. Subtlety. A blessing in disguise. Soft or muted. Understated. Expression. Not overbearing. We have Pisces and Leo. Creativity and originality come naturally to nature. Here we have Isa, the standstill, ice, and inactivity. The three cards of tarot given to begin. We're holding a Chariot. We're holding the Sun, we're holding the King of Pentacles. Get some things over here. Without patience, nobody'd ever get anywhere. Isn't that the funny thing behind the car? reveals the Queen of Wands. How she gets so far so fast and can't even leave. And everything comes to her. There's the rest. Let's see. The Egyptian you're to meditate upon today. Thought, also known as Thoth. What it means to be whole. The divine scribe, who's said to be the first, the Atlantean. But where's Atlantis? He's in Egypt. And the whole world stank. The greatest city, the greatest country, the greatest world to ever exist. To be the only one to carry everything over to the other side. End up in Egypt. Who was later transformed into many other characters, such as Hermes Trismegistus. The whole world is in a process of awakening, with the bodies being carried up to the stars. And the mind is, well, that was the last one, as wholeness. And the body's becoming lighter and lighter every day, rather than more heavy, and needing more medication, more money, more time, more cost of food, more. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, and integration. One question I have, or something to think about, that comes up, is how is it? They say someone can only last about 3 to 4 days without water in the desert, or even anyhow, or 2 weeks without food. But the mind is a powerful thing. So how is it possible that through crystal divination, let's just call it that one could hold on to an idea of death or resurrection and then wipe it off the board and then take in supposedly one of the greatest poisons that is able to be ingested to mankind, and to go without food or water while running 1,000,000 miles an hour here for 3 to 4 days. And find some kind of solace in it, and they could inspire the rest of one's life. When everyone's afraid to stop, afraid to go, afraid to let go, afraid to act because they think too much. what's thinking if it doesn't do it by itself, more or less? And whatever one thinks, well, as soon as they think it, it changes. I guess that's a great difference between someone who acts in the moment. There it is. Give it all, give or give nothing. What's balancing? And who's trying to take from that? Who could? To transform it into their own. Just in trying to, they'll be fighting with their own mind. That's the beauty of it. It's the thing about words. You could say only God could hold them. And, well, I've never met God anywhere on earth. If it wasn't everywhere I ever looked, it was a reflection of myself. Maybe that's why it's so peaceful here. Whenever I'm guided to do something, it's done. Right there. The title's already made for this video, and so is the image, and so is the stars that were cast upon that moment. And here we are. It's one action. Who could compete with that? Who would try? In order to try, you'd have to veer back and go back to yourself and try it on your own, in your own way, as it would come up for you, or as your intent, or the blankness of the mind forces the blade without force, like that. That's too many. But I do see sacrifice comes out in reverse. Neptune, which right now is in retrograde. I'm not sure the numbers on it. It was 26 minutes or something. 24 minutes. I don't know. I guess you'll see at the end, because it'll be in the description. And we also have friends in reverse. The 11th house. There's another funny thing about friends in the real world, of how naturally it's bent. How do we put it? We only hang out with them when it's convenient. For them or for us, got to call ahead of time and then set something up. And, well, here, friends just come right to us. And us to them, even if we haven't even seen them yet. There's a lot of forgiveness in pointing out the things that bother us. One of the greatest fears is not to point that out and not to name names or to express oneself ultimately. Who could hold anyone against themselves for being that honest and true? None. Because the proof, well, what's true works itself out. It has to. Because that's the nature of mind, of spirit, of being, of God, however you want to. I'm not going to judge anyone on this, but how I feel is I find it very disrespectful and deceitful when someone holds it backwards in a way that I'm not familiar with. You know, my whole life, until I awoke, I never brought up God. It was a personal thing to me. Right? And Jesus was the last thing I ever believed in. And by looking through the Bible in the beginning, as a student of all religions and all things, that was the one right away. Didn't add up. Whatever one calls it, the higher self, whatever, the intuition, immediately. Didn't take very long for me to know that there was something tricky about that book. Isn't it funny that we had the Issa rune here, and the chapter that's all about law, and warns ahead of time and tells everybody, okay, see, we're everybody's bosses. If you believe this book, we own your asses. That chapter is called Issaism. Or Sa. Yeah, that's Isaiah. It starts in Issa. That is where they describe and tell you that they own you. Unless you know otherwise. Unless you've been to this place, it's not as easy as just reading it here or getting it in a video. Be like, oh, I know. Oh, I know. Oh, I know. I can do whatever I want. Mm-hmm. You sure can. You sure can. For those of us tied to the pole, it's not that simple. Just ask anybody who's chosen to be elected for any department or whatever. They're not in charge, as much as they could think they are. They're the one chained up on the pole. And anybody could take it from them, too. Later on, they could be like, oh, we pulled up something from your past history. Now we're taking it from you. Or, oh, well, there's a change upstairs. Upstairs, I was in charge. Well, if, like, say you're the mayor, well, how'd the mayor get there? And, well, the mayor or the police chief or whoever's in charge is the least useful person and the most useful at the same time, but only if they're congruent. Absolutely. Otherwise, they're of detriment. They'll get too deep in the details of something or another, or they'll get caught up in the toxicity of systems that are in closed cycles and entropy, and they'll be able to be paid off. They won't be working when they're at work, and they'll be doing secret work outside of work rather than being. So it ends up being, in a sense, however you could look at it, those that aren't accepted anywhere. They lead everyone. Or those that are apart, separately, cast, rejected, exiled. Those that are accepted so easily, well, if you make everybody happy because you're there, well, they'll be just as happy to see you gone too. And then that's a pretty hard place to hold it, huh? So we come up with Sagittarius. I see. Interestingly, we're during Mercury retrograde right now. And we got these two cards in reverse. We have Mercury retrograde, 51. Upside down. Reinvention. And the North Node. Life's purpose. If it's just to get the house, just to get the money, just to have the stuff, not to do nothing with it, not to let anybody else share in it or see it or learn from it. Just so you can go, oh, it's mine. Stay out of my yard. Oh, don't piss in my yard. That's something that's been pushed on me before. That system. But they're the one that came into my yard. But my yard was everybody's yard and sharing with them all. So, yeah, Scotland Yard. There's a lot of 51s about that one. Even where it exists on the longitude, latitude. And Scotland Yard. See, there's a little trick in there. See, you imprison all the crooks, or those that are too innocent to know right or wrong, they get stuck in a prison. See, England, well, they had order, but then looked at it like the Scottish. They're savages. But then, see, we get Braveheart. Oh, well, see, we're just natives. We're trying to fight for our freedom, and they're coming to take it from us. And then, okay, Scotland Yard. There, look, now everybody can be a hero. Who's getting drawn and quartered? Everybody that took up a position, I suppose. Especially if it was just for power, or just to have the money, or just to have the respect. Because it seems to work kind of, I don't know. There's not a right way to put it about that, is there? Language almost needs to be redefined. About that, we get the Four of Coins. It's got 4 roses in the tree of life. It says, the great tree of Lorraine unites the free people. But it came in reverse too. Right, because unites the free people. Each is free and has to reunite with themselves through the freedom, but that takes you away, like the concept of the Scotland Yard to prison. Oh, only the 2 different kinds of crooks are there. Those that go out and search for them, and then those that trying to get, they're both trying to get away with something. It's 2 aspects of mind. So you got the Bobbies, and you got the Billies, the Billy Goats, right? The Bobbies and the Billies. Let me pull up here. This says about the 4. See, in this deck, there is now reversals in the book, because not only is it tarot, but it's a card game, and it's Lord of the Rings. It's one of the most interesting things I've ever received, of many things. So 4 of Coins we have. Looks like we're looking at getting our financial and material conditions organized. Right, man? Accounting for what has been spent, budgeting for future costs, and putting a bridge between 2 different realms so that people can move from one realm to another. And the reversal of that is each of us is that realm and that bridge. And where's the one another? The Great Divide. What's so great? What's the distance from here to here and here to there? If I could see there, it's already here. But obviously, there could see here. So that's how it moved in the way. So it could take from here to take it there. But there is no there. There's only here. In the great aspect of understanding. In development, what do we put off each day? What could we do better? The simple stuff. The funny thing of like how parents are like, oh, I gotta make sure to put a timer so my kids go to bed on a certain time so I can do whatever I want so that I can monitor them without monitoring them because the devices will do it and they'll tell me or it'll tell me and then I don't have to do my job. Really? See the system set up in reverse. I've been going through such strain lately. And the color of this lighting as well. I said it. Notice my teeth are a little bit yellower than normal, but it's partially the light. It's partially because the time is approaching for me to make that change. But we can talk about change all we want, right? The only way I could put it down is come here and be with you. So that's a great blessing. I'm honored to be here with you. So we have Freya, the goddess of discernment. I spend my time wisely. I only say yes when it's a holy hell yes. That perfectly encapsulates where we're at, what I just explained. And each has to come to know and harness the power of the high priestess, which is saying what you mean what you say. Who could bend that? At the same time as the mind tries to find something and figure out some other way around it so they can cheat. When it reads something, it's like, oh, that means. Well, if it means something, then it means exactly what I said. Or, well, that's what did you come up with? That's your problem, right? Don't think twice. If you come to read it, you have to take it for its full value, for what it's worth. You can go talk to as many people as you want about it. You could think and go try to find evidence against it. See, that's the thing about the mind. It finds what it's looking for. And so if you're looking for a dead end, if you're looking for an excuse to say, oh, look, they said in the newspaper yesterday that actually cancer isn't caused from cigarettes. Lung cancer is caused from smoking while you watch television. But if you're always smoking and not watching television, if you're in action, then you don't get cancer. What? Oh, so that's weird. So that's why Grandma she never watched TV. But she was a smokeaholic, but she was a drinker, and she'd always be busy doing stuff, going to the bars, this and that, and lived 99. See, the mind has a lot to do with how we end up getting to where we're at. That's why the news is meant to bend everyone's mind, to take away from who you are, make you afraid or confused about where you're at and where you're going. It's mass media. As if they control your fate. That's the lesson behind it, as mass media comes from Iran. I wonder why they're bombing Iran, when that's where media comes from. The Medes. You do your own research on it. But whenever you need to mess with somebody, like a king or anyone's powerful, all they do is send in a bunch of sorcerers, which would basically go around and tell a bunch of gossip about you. And set things up to make it look like you're a good or bad person, get somebody to kill you. And nobody knows what's going on. It's so easy to cause a mob, right? Isn't that what KKK is all about? The concept, right? As long as you're like, oh yeah, we can go kill those N-words. Oh yeah. Oh, everybody wants an enemy. Yeah, let's string them up. Oh, yeah. Turn into a bunch of native Indians, like as if but that's not to say native or Indians are bad, but that's that war party aspect. It's real easy to bend people's minds, especially if they don't think for themselves or aren't willing to sit with the truth and think about it. Why would you come up with a reason to kill another man, woman, child? Why? Or even an animal? Unless you really had to. For fun, for sport. Animals don't do that. I mean, cats kind of do. Dogs will do it in a pack. Cats will only do it with bugs and butterflies and shit like that. If they're actually hungry, they'll just go get their food. They'll drag it up into the tree, or they'll just eat it right there out in the open. The rest of the time, they're just playing. There's all kinds of images of cats and rabbits and mice, especially domesticated cats. They're let out sometimes, and so they don't know any better. And then you do know better. And there's the wild animals out there, and the cat goes and frickin' brings a rabbit home. And the rabbit's like, I'm gonna die. And then it drops it off in the living room. And then all of a sudden, the rabbit's like, oh my God, I got a friend. And then they're hanging out together, or a mouse. Isn't that strange? That's more how it should be. You don't see that a lot in human beings. Isn't that funny? Speaking of dogs and cats, I think of foxes as more cat-like than dog-like. But they're kind of in between. A rare breed. A spirit fox. We should have to trust our talents in changing times. That's why it's important to have many talents. My mother was telling me about this movie yesterday, The Accountant 2. Something about, I've never seen either movie. Something about two autistic brothers or whatever. Their dad brought them in and taught them every bit of warfare and all this stuff. Basically like supposedly nobles are taught. The idea of becoming a prince. And to lead an entire nation one day to already know about every aspect of warfare and home life, for the people and for the nobles and for the knighthood and for the priesthood. You've already had to walk through all those doors just to get home where you already been at. Where you just be like, oh, hey, Dad, when you die, can I be the boss? Of course, it's your stuff. That's where they disconnected in America, in the United States, right? Everybody's just waiting for somebody to die so they can just get that inheritance. What good is that? It ain't gonna last for shit. It's a dead end. Easy come, easy go. Well, it wasn't easy. I had to work for 40 years. Yeah, well, shouldn't have been waiting. Should have been saving. Stand your ground. Great spiritual teacher. Learn from spiritual experiences. You can't have spiritual experiences unless you have spiritual experiences. Most of them aren't going to happen at a church or at work or any of those things unless you've already studied a lot. It comes from different states of mind and being. I think this 3636, this interesting quote from Eminem. Bring up somebody. Don't you tell him not to do drugs. Yeah, it is what it is. You never know unless you've been. The first couple times, somebody offered me pot. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't even get a buzz. So, my mom gave it to me with the band. Then it hit me. It was amazing, and then it was a terrible thing. Experiences change over time. There's this folding in spirit across a gap of no gap, and a pivotal point. Ideally, it's this place. And from there, everything you put into yourself is everything you're going to get out. It's like some kind of universal atomic clock. You get dirtier and dirtier and dirtier as you get in, or up to a point where it's just like, boom, the tower. The tower, shit, you're the only thing that could stand that was left. Everything else got destroyed. On nothing. All of it. You got it all. In a speck. Is the entire universe in a moment. And over the next 5-10 years, and everything works its way back out and stands you back up, but actually also the world around you raises itself back up. 38. This is the idea behind it. Let's get one more card before we go. Make it 3. Think about a turtle shell. The whole world balances on the back of a turtle. Have you ever seen that turtle? Turtles are pretty slow. They say some can run them up to like 30 miles an hour. Even big ones. Maybe it's almost as big as this room. Live hundreds of years. All they can do is just pull themselves in. Or bite the head off of, or the arm off of anything that tries to reach in there and get it. Come on. Stay out of my house. And then that thing is gone. What we got here? We got Earth. Came out in reverse though. I mean, if that matters. And look. Perfectly balanced. Split in half. 2 all the way through. There's a 66 for you. From the source. You have to know the source to get there and to get out of it. Creating success. The constancy of a mare bears fruit. A noble one has a direction to go. At first, confusion. Later, gains a master. Peaceful. Constancy. Brings good fortune. Earth 2. The new Earth. We got this one in reverse too. We got seeking union. So ultimately, no matter who we end up with, one has to be united with themselves in all things. And just hold it. I mean, that's a trick, right? And for us running out on ourselves, or running in ourselves, or trying to absorb ourselves. It's a tricky thing to master, isn't it? So one can't just hide. Just lock it all up. So Stoicism is it, and only half of it. Being a barbarian is it, but only half of it. Being a priest is it, but only half of it. Being a commoner is it, but only half of it. Good fortune. At the origin of oracle consultation, from the source, ever-flowing constancy, no mistake. Not at rest, coming on all sides. For the latecomer, pitfall. So it's always good to be early. Say haste makes waste, but the bird gets the worm, don't it? And that third card, let's see. Here's one last thought. Ooh, of all cards, the Master card. Upon oneself, the balance of all things. Since that was, well, here's one aspect, and here's the other.